Let's imagine that a single DF-5C missile launched toward Washington, D.C., with all 12 warheads impacting the same area.
Nice. Jesse on fire. What's that explosion? Oh, no big deal. It's actually Russia, because Ukraine just started hitting inside of Russia, deep inside Russia, with the blessing of the United States using our technology, which is fine. It's an escalation that we didn't allow throughout this entire conflict, and suddenly, as of yesterday, we're fine with that. You know, go ahead and use our weapons to strike military targets inside of Russia, because that's definitely not going to escalate this thing. Oh, North Korea enters the Ukrainian-Russian conflict on the Russia side. North Korea. Weird. So they are deploying 11,000 troops, or already deployed 11,000 troops on the Russian side, and we are now striking inside Russia. You know, I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that he's about to come into the mix, right? You know, because the deep state definitely is not trying to escalate this. They're like, it's fine, guys. Everything's fine. Wait, I'm sorry. Did he say he wants to end the conflict? Well, geez. Did he run on that platform? Was that one of his main talking points around foreign policy, that he was going to make them negotiate and we were going to get out of this thing? Because that clearly would indicate a democratically made decision by the voters, since it is something that we have sent, how many billions of dollars to? Obviously, our opinion on that conflict is loud and clear. They're all, well, listen, technically we're still in charge. So why don't we go ahead and kill a bunch of people and definitely give them no choice but to turn this into a bloodbath. Now, we're going to go through this story, but guess what else we're going to go through? I still am not fully confident that everyone understands what we're talking about when we talk about nuclear war. So we're also going to go through this little number that I found today, the true scale of modern nuclear weapons. And we're going to go through specifically the arsenal that the Russian military has and the specific ICBM technology that they have, which is tremendously better than ours, way scarier. And just for good measure, we're also going to show the two best ICBMs that China has, which are also way better than ours. You see that little one right there? You see the little one that's like, hello, I am trying to be a big boy. That's ours. You see the one right next to it? That's China's, and that one is in third place. There's one much bigger than that in China, and there's one much bigger than that in Russia. And when you see the destruction that these things cause, because there's an actual computer-generated video of exactly what that would look like if it hit DC or New York, we're going to look at that, and you'll be like, maybe I'm not so cool with them escalating this thing, especially when Russia just changed its doctrine as it relates to nuclear response. I'm just saying, I feel like we should probably at least understand what's on the line when we talk about, well, maybe let's just see what they do. Let's see what they do. Well, you're like, well, is one of those options total human race annihilation? They're like, oh, I don't know if they would necessarily do the entire human race. They probably wouldn't strike themselves. You're like, well, do you think we might strike them if they struck us? It's like, yeah, probably. You're like, so you're talking like, what do you think? Like a 80% reduction in human population on the earth? They're like, yeah. You're like, think maybe we could just see what the big guy does, like rather than ensure that we're going to escalate this and risk that. What do you think, guys? We are very unhappy with how the voters chose. So we are on tilt right now. We're on tilt. So we're going to talk about that. Oh, also, North Korea prepared to send 100,000 troops to Ukraine. Awesome. This is really good news. Now, we're going to go through all of those. Don't want to miss any of it. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. It's not free to watch my content. It just doesn't cost money. I just ask that you subscribe if you're going to watch it. Don't be the person that takes the candy and doesn't leave the quarter. That's a bad guy. Also, I'm going to show you a sponsor of this video real quick, and it's going to make you some moolah. Easiest $50 you'll ever make in your life. Now, if I told you that you could make $50 for free if you take 90 seconds of your time to do something, it's something that you would do, especially if the 90 seconds is going to be something fun. Because that's exactly what PrizePicks and I are offering you right now. I want to be very clear. There is no gimmick here. There's no chance where this does not lead to $50 free for you. There's nothing you have to pick right. There's no game you have to win. If you play a $5 roster on PrizePicks, you will get $50 into your account whether you win or lose the roster that you entered. How much you can win in addition to the automatic $50 depends on the size of the roster that you pick, but I'll let you play around with that a little bit. Now, you also could try to win real big and play more than $5, but you don't have to. Take a look over here. Look at what I stand to win if I hit this roster. Hold me accountable to this. I'm putting it on my channel. I'm putting my face on it. Hold me accountable, and also hold me accountable to this. This game is super fun. You're going to want to play. As you can see on the left side of the screen, All you do is go through the athletes that you want to pick in a specific sport. In this case, we're doing UFC because my girl Rose Namajunas is fighting on Saturday. In addition to MMA, they have college basketball, college football, NBA, NFL, any sport you could think of, you can play on PrizePicks. Now, in the roster you see over here, this is obviously a UFC roster. I'm playing a $5 game, which means if this was my first game, I would see a free $50 put into my account the second that the game starts. So come join me for PrizePicks. It's an amazing game. You'll be supporting my channel and you'll be getting free money. Also, look at my roster, take a screenshot, and then you can see how I did. And also, I want to know who you guys are picking. Send me your rosters if you want. Link is in the description. Use promo code JesseOnFire for the $50 bonus. And that is what it is. So we've set the stage. North Korea has now entered the conflict on the Russia side. And I want to put this in perspective because, now we have greenlit Ukraine to shoot these missiles into Russia and attack military targets, which they did. And we're going to look at that video in a second. Okay. Now, do you think that Russia looks at this as we're not in a war directly with the United States anymore? When you're in a war, you have things get attacked in your country. And the country that shot those things at you is the one you're in the war with. Do you think that the fact that someone in Ukraine pressed those buttons is like they're looking at, oh yeah, we're not in a war with the United States now? We publicly ordered it. It's the same as us ordering it if we authorize it. It's like, yeah, go ahead and do that. They're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, they just said they could if they wanted to. Get out of here, man. We ordered them to strike inside of Russia. We are at war with Russia as of this moment. Okay. And like I said, we're going to look at a video of that attack, and then we're going to look at what happens if this escalates to nuclear war, which is going to be amazing for everyone if you, feel like having sleepless nights and imagining everybody in your family and everybody you've ever known dying in a 10 million degree nuclear fireball. So this is what Thomas Massie said. By authorizing long-range missiles inside of Russia, Brandon has committed an unconstitutional act that endangers the lives of all U.S. citizens. This is an impeachable offense, but the reality is he's an emasculated puppet of the deep state. Yeah, I think that is a fair assessment because I have seen him speak a fair number of times, in the last year. And if I was going to write an intelligence report, I think it would sound something like this. If this guy is genuinely the one who is making this decision, that would make me very concerned because I am literally certain that if I gave him an order that he was going to go to Starbucks and bring something back for me, there is about a 3% chance that it comes back correct. So let's take a look at the attack footage and then we'll get to the nukes. All right. So here is the footage of us blowing things up in Russia, like a month before we get a new president who wants to end the conflict. I wonder why they're doing that.
Ух, ни хрена себе. Ну, такое было, как в прошлый раз. Ракета как будто туда прилетела. Да нет, это... Там такая только что была полоса, как будто ракета.
So that's like a military depot deep inside of Russia where they house a bunch of their munitions and bang. We hit it with a bunch of... I think they're drones, actually, that we're hitting them with. Yeah, so there's that, right? But let's get to the good part. Let's get to the good part. This is a description of the second biggest ICBM in China. Okay, so again, now we're going to start wrapping our brains around the potential threat to the United States in the event that we did escalate to nuclear war. We live in a world where no one that is alive right now has been attacked on our domestic soil. Okay, the most recent time that happened was Pearl Harbor. You can obviously include, September 11th, but like where an actual state attacked us, basically no one is alive anymore who's ever seen that. It seems impossible to us. And the reality is the only way that this is actually going to happen and almost probably would be a nuclear exchange. So it's important that you understand what that looks like. Okay, so here you go. Have a good time. ICBM, by the way, stands for Intercontinental Ballistic Missile. I will stop if they use any acronyms because I know what they mean and I'll just kind of tell you what they mean. So here you go. Here's China's second biggest ICBM.
5C variant. This missile is a true giant, standing over 106 feet tall and weighing approximately 183 tons. First introduced in the 1980s, the DF-5 has remained a cornerstone of China's nuclear deterrent ever since. The DF-5 has an impressive range of up to 15,000 kilometers, or about 9,300 miles, which means it can reach almost any target on the globe from launch sites within China. What makes it particularly formidable is its payload. The latest versions, like the DF-5B and DF-5C, are equipped with MIRVs, allowing them to carry up to 12 nuclear warheads, each with a yield of 1 megaton of TNT.
A MIRV is a multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicle, which means they are going to have 12 nuclear warheads that are going to pop out of this thing in lower Earth orbit, and they're going to hit 12 different targets. Okay? A 1 megaton payload is so huge, it's hard to even wrap your brain around. But they're going to tell you that in a second, so I'll just let them tell you, okay? Watch this.
To understand the scale, remember that the Hiroshima bomb was just 15 kilotons of TNT, so each warhead on the DF-5 is about 66 times more powerful. If all 12 warheads were directed at the same target...
So you heard that right, okay? Each of those warheads is 66 Hiroshima bombs. 66. If you really want to give yourself nightmares, go look at the devastation from the Hiroshima bomb and then imagine 66 of those hitting the same place. Oh, and then there's also 11 more of those on each single missile. And this is not the worst one that China has, and Russia has a much scarier one. So... yeah.
area, the combined explosive power would be a staggering 12 megatons. That's 800 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Let's imagine that a single DF-5C missile launched toward Washington, D.C., with all 12 warheads impacting the same area.
Nice.
The fireball would engulf an area with a radius greater than 3 kilometers or 2 miles, effectively vaporizing everything in that zone. The blast would cause most residential buildings to collapse within a 16-kilometer or close to 10-mile radius. And third-degree burns could affect people up to 35 kilometers or close to 22 miles away.
That's the one that I really want people to focus on when we go through these blast radiuses, okay? Because one thing that you will notice if you go and you compare to like the Hiroshima bomb, oh, so everything was vaporized inside of about a half mile. And you're like, and then you look and it's like, oh, everything's, fireball radius is about 2 miles here. I thought it's 66 times bigger. Okay, well, it's not a direct one-to-one on the fireball. When you look at where you see the disbursement of how much more powerful it is, that's where you look. Okay, things like third-degree burns up to 22 miles, okay? Think of something that's 22 miles from your home, okay? 22 miles. It lands there, you get third-degree burns sitting in your house. Anyway, let's continue. It gets a lot scarier.
The human cost would be unimaginable. Estimated fatalities could exceed 1 million, with over 1.8 million more injured. What's even more alarming is that this level of destruction comes from just one DF-5 missile. China is believed to have around 20 to 30 DF-5 missiles in its arsenal. At number 2 on the list is the Russian R-36 ICBM.
Yeah, so this is the second scariest one, and I just realized, I think I was saying that China has the 2 scarier ones. It's actually Russia has the top 2 scarier ones. So that's much better for us, given the current situation. So let's listen to the second scariest ICBM, and then we'll get to the worst one, which is absolutely going to break your brain.
Better known by its NATO designation as the Satan missile. Developed during the Cold War, this missile is one of the most powerful ever built, designed to deliver massive nuclear payloads across vast distances. The R-36 is a colossal missile, standing over 32 meters, or about 106 feet tall, and weighing close to a staggering 210,000 kilograms, which is close to 500,000 pounds. It's a 2-stage, liquid-fueled rocket designed to deliver nuclear warheads across continents, with an operational range of up to 16,000 kilometers or close to 10,000 miles.
And that means it can hit anywhere in the world from Russia.
This means it can reach targets virtually anywhere in the world from launch sites within Russia. What makes the Satan missile particularly fearsome is its payload capacity. It can carry up to 10 MIRVs, each armed with a nuclear warhead ranging up to 1 megaton of TNT. This means a single missile can unleash a total explosive yield of up to 10 megatons of TNT, about 666 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima.
This one is basically identical to the China one, which is super scary. But again, wait until you see the last one, because if you think that's scary, we are talking about a massive multiple on the last one.
A fitting figure for the Satan missile. Some variants of the R-36 were equipped with a single massive warhead with a yield of up to 20 megatons. That's over 1,300 times the power of the Hiroshima bomb, designed to obliterate hardened targets like missile silos and command bunkers. Now imagine if a single R-36 missile were to detonate over San Francisco with a single 15 megaton warhead. The immediate fireball would engulf an area over 30 square kilometers or 12 square miles, vaporizing everything within a 3-kilometer or close to a 2-mile radius. Buildings would be flattened within a 17-kilometer or over 10-mile radius.
10 miles, everything is dust, pretty much. 10 miles.
Decimating much of the Bay Area. Thermal radiation would cause third-degree burns to people up to 40 kilometers or over 24 miles away, covering an area of nearly 4,800 square kilometers or 1,850 square miles.
That is a really massive number. Now, I'm going to pause this really quick, and I'm going to show you what a 15 megaton nuclear explosion looks like, because there is one captured in real life, okay? It's called the Castle Bravo test, and it was an accident. We meant to do a 7.5 megaton explosion in the Bikini Islands, and we used a hardened fuel instead of soft fuel or liquid fuel, which we didn't realize was going to double the yield. And you'll see, this is what that looks like. Now, again, this video is completely real. It is completely terrifying, and it was a massive environmental disaster. Let's watch this. Looks like someone unleashed the gates of hell. And the reason it happens so slow like that is because it's so enormous. Like this is enormous, right? So like if you're gonna have an explosion that's gonna go over 40 miles or whatever, it's going to take a while to get there. You know what I mean? Look at that, dude. Does that look like something that you would like to see happen in your neighborhood, or I guess in anywhere even remotely near you, because you're dead? You know, wow, that's beautiful. Dead. Okay. Now again, scary. Wait till you see the last one.
The human toll would be catastrophic. Estimated fatalities could exceed 1 million, with over 1.3 million more injured.
I mean, you just have to go like, what's the population in that area? And then just assume everyone's dead.
And this is the impact of just one missile. Russia is believed to have around 46 operational R-36M2 Voyvoda missiles, the most advanced variant of the SS-18. Each of these missiles can carry multiple warheads, significantly multiplying their destructive potential. With such an arsenal, the sheer scale of power held within these weapons is almost beyond comprehension. Finally,
okay, this is the last one. This is the scariest nuclear weapon that exists, and it's in the hands of Russia, who we just shot missiles at.
The top of the list is the Russian RS-28 Sarmat missile, ominously nicknamed the Satan II. This intercontinental ballistic missile represents the pinnacle of modern nuclear weaponry, developed to replace the aging R-36M Satan missiles. The RS-28 Sarmat is designed to evade missile defense systems and deliver massive payloads across the globe. The Sarmat is a 3-stage liquid-fueled missile that weighs over 208 tons and measures over 35 meters, or about 116 feet in length. It's capable of carrying a variety of warhead configurations, including up to 10 heavy MIRVs or 15 lighter ones, along with advanced countermeasures to bypass missile defenses. Its range exceeds 18,000 kilometers, or over 11,000 miles, allowing it to reach targets anywhere on Earth. One of the most concerning features of the RS-28 is its ability to utilize a fractional orbital bombardment system, or FOBS. This means the missile can enter a low Earth orbit and approach targets from any direction, including over the South Pole, effectively bypassing traditional early warning systems that are oriented toward the north. Some reports speculate that the Sarmat could theoretically carry a payload of up to 50 megatons, equivalent to the Tsar bomber, the most powerful nuclear device ever detonated. While such a massive yield is more hypothetical and not practical for modern military use, imagining its potential impact is sobering. Consider a scenario where a 50-megaton warhead is detonated over New York City. The immediate fireball would engulf an area with a radius of over 5 kilometers or over 3 miles, vaporizing everything within 83 square kilometers or 32 square miles.
Sorry, did you guys miss that part? Vaporize anything within 32 square miles. Okay? Not destroy, vaporize. Okay? I'm not sure if you guys have been picking up what I've been putting down on the temperatures of a nuclear fireball, but they're 10 million degrees. They're hotter than the center of the sun. Have you ever imagined what would happen to, like, I don't know, a spaceship that just ran into the sun? It just ceases to exist. Okay, that is all things. Okay, a 32 square miles of this is literally reverted back to before there was a single cell organism on Earth. It's like an eraser. You know what I mean? It's literally just an eraser. You go to dust. That's just the vapor zone, okay? Let's continue and see why these people who are shooting things at Russia are out of their goddamn mind.
The intense blast wave would cause heavy destruction up to 26 kilometers or 16 miles away, leveling buildings and structures in more than 2,000 square kilometers or close to 800 square miles. Third-degree burns could be inflicted on people up to 60 kilometers or 37 miles away.
So again, 37 miles away, dude. 37 miles away, you have third-degree burns all over your body, okay?
Covering an area of close to 11,000 square kilometers or over 4,200 square miles.
4,200 square miles of sheer burnt death. So, if I was going to summarize my thoughts in a couple sentences, I might say a thing like this. We need to get these deep state lunatics out of there now. Now. I don't care about what their priorities are. I've always been open to the fact that there are things that I don't understand going on in the region, but I am not open to risking the lives of every single person on Earth for whatever their agenda is. It's not worth it. Okay? Now, not to leave everybody on a note of sheer terror, because I wanted to show you one other thing also, which is this, okay? The idea that Vladimir Putin is some kind of lunatic maniac without a brain is dumb. Here's him doing some judo, okay? He's the guy, man. Okay, I love that interaction right here. This is one of his friends and one of his instructors. They've trained together for years. He's just a guy, man. Don't believe the media. He's just a guy. Now, he might, for obvious reasons, have, ill intent towards the United States, just like we've had ill intent for him his entire career. But he's just a guy. And what does that tell you? Okay. What's the absolute worst case scenario that you could possibly face as the leader of a country? That is to have one of those weapons hit your country. And what is the thing you could do that would make it most likely, almost a certainty, that you are going to get hit with one of those weapons is fire one at someone else. So the likelihood that he does it is not high. I am certainly acknowledging that. But at the same time, North Korea just entered, and we are clearly escalating this on purpose. Now, what do I really think is happening here? Like, what do I actually think is happening for real? I think everybody knows that the big guy is going to negotiate a ceasefire, and they are all just trying to bolster their negotiating position when they get to the table with the person who is going to stop everybody getting killed, which is exactly why we put him where he's going to be. And I'm proud of the fact that not only that I voted that way, but that I dedicated the amount of time on my channel to helping as much as I possibly could, leveraging my platform, because it's that important, Like, obviously, a lot. Do I really think that there is a high probability we're going to get hit with a nuke? No, I don't. But if there's a 1% chance, that's way too high, dude. And I saw a figure today that put it at 8%. An 8% chance that there's a nuclear explosion in 2024. Do you understand? Like, would you play Russian roulette? Literally, would you personally play Russian roulette with a 12-cylinder firearm? I mean, actually 8, I believe, is actually 11. 11-cylinder firearm, are you going to play that? No, of course not. Because you're not insane. These people are. That's what I got. I love you guys. Bye-bye.